So good morning, everyone out there in internet land. Excuse me. Here we are on a somewhat sunny day in Binghamton, New York. I think it's Tuesday. Porsche, I'm so busy. I don't know what day it is, I bet you are too. I know that you got so much.
Yep, it happens.
And I'm going to just enjoy the day, folks. I'm just going to enjoy having the opportunity to speak to this wonderful guest that I have today. I'm so excited about this. Her name is Porsché Mystique Steele. And if that isn't one of the best names that you ever heard, I don't know what is. And she lives up to it because she's very magical, she's very mysterious, and she's very smart. So, Porsche, welcome. Welcome to Smart Conversations.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Yvonne. That was a dope interjection. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Well, so one of the things, folks, that we're going to do is talk about the fact that I'm going to read the back. We're going to talk about this book, folks. But let me tell you about Porsche. She's a TEDx speaker. Yeah, I saw your TEDx talk. Awesome. Really good. Very, very good. She's an independent book publishing expert, which is one of the reasons I love her, and CEO of Mystique Rose Publishing Services. As a sought-after book coach, she trains business owners and influencers on how to write, publish, and leverage impactful books that make a difference, right? I know that's what you believe also. Porsche is also a dynamic professional speaker who assists organizations with using storytelling to build stronger teams. And she puts stuff on LinkedIn, folks. You need to follow her on LinkedIn because she is a dynamo, and the content she puts there is really valuable. So, Porsche, before we get into this absolutely wonderful book, tell me the backstory of how you got started in the indie publishing world.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I've always been super obsessed with books, but things kind of took a really weird turn around 16, 17 years old. I found myself in a situation that I didn't want to be in. I found myself in an oppressive household that was ran by my father. And we weren't allowed to go out. I wasn't allowed to go to college. I wasn't allowed to get a job. I wasn't allowed to date. I wasn't allowed to be on the internet without, supervision unless we were doing schooling. And I did virtual schooling and it was great, but it killed the social butterfly inside of me, just dead, So I really dove head over heels, let's just say head first into books, specifically self-help, nonfiction books that really helped me to learn about the world that I was being kept from. It was so powerful and transformative for me. But I was reading unpublished works that people were posting on Goodreads and Wattpad because I felt like it was so authentic. It was raw, it was real, but it was riddled with errors. And I've always been naturally good at editing and grammar and stuff. So I was able to reach out to these authors and tell them, yeah, this is good, but the grammars are just ridiculous. I can't get through it. So I asked them if I could edit for them, and said yes. Slowly but surely, I realized that I could make money off of this. And so I would sneak online at night, and I created an Upwork profile, and I started my freelance editing business. And I earned about $14,000 within the first 6 months. And I had no bank account because technically I didn't exist. So the IRS didn't know who I was. You couldn't run a background check on me. So I wasn't allowed to open a bank account. So I just had all this money sitting inside a PayPal account. And eventually one day my older sister told me she had had enough, that she couldn't take it anymore because we both were experiencing sexual abuse. And for her, it was physical abuse and emotional abuse. She said she was done. And I said, all right, let's go. We have money sitting in the account. Let's take it and let's leave. In that time, I was actually secretly dating a guy from Nigeria online. So when we left home with 14 grand in our pockets, I booked a business class ticket to Nigeria to see the guy. Well, when I arrived, he proposed to me. I said yes. We got married 3 months later. And in that time, I just continued hustling as a freelance editor. But one of my clients told me that they wanted me to help them self-publish. I said no, because I don't know how to do that. But they said, please, please, Porsche, please help me. So I asked him to give me some time so I could learn the industry, and I would come back and I would help him self-publish. And that's what I did. And seeing the look on his face when I told him that his book was live was everything for me. It was everything. And it was
Awesome.
at that moment that I knew that I needed to do this forever, not just editing, but the entire publishing process. And so I started my company in 2021, Mystique Rose Publishing. And now we get to do that, create that same transformation for authors on a much larger scale.
I love that. I mean, that's a really,
You
really traumatic story, so to speak. And I think many of us have some kind of, I don't want to say trauma, but some kind of background that enabled us or kind of encouraged us to turn to books. And that's what happened with me also. I mean, I just had to have books in my life. And so now that you're doing the publishing and you're in the publishing world, tell us about this book, because I really want this book, The CEO Author, The Business Owner's Guide to Expanding Your Thought Leadership with a Book. And it's actually going to be a series. You're working on the second one, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So tell me, well, before you tell me, I want to read in chapter 2 something that really struck me. Okay. So Porsche writes, it's a sad truth that authors today lack integrity. Understand this. The moment you publish a book, you make a promise to your reader. Every book that has ever been written contains a promise. The promise to be entertained, the promise to be inspired, or the promise to be educated. That is just a genius. I mean, I talk the same language, but I really like the way you said that there. But tell me, the CEO author, what a great title. Tell me how you just woke up one day and decided to do this. I don't know.
Man, I wish I just woke up one day and decided. No, it was, oh man, I got to take you back to January 2nd of 2022. Because, no, sorry, 2023. That was this year. January 2nd, 2023 was a Monday. And I don't want to force my beliefs on anybody, but I'm a very spiritual woman, not religious, but spiritual. So I love prayer and being able to connect with the creator. And January 2nd was a Monday, and I knew that I wanted to start this first business week of the year off powerfully. Mm-hmm. Back in September of 2022, I had thought about wanting to write a book. Finally, I published over 50 books for other people. It was time for me to do my own. And so I went through the process of creating the outline of a book, which was like the Bible, to writing a really great book and using it in your business. And I had reached out to a bunch of beta readers, or I like to call them my perfect readers. And I said, hey, look over this outline and tell me what you think. And they were like, it's great, but it's a little too much. And I was like, you're kidding. I'm literally giving you everything you need to write a book. There's no such thing as too much. But then I had to realize that there is a such thing as too much. So January 2nd, 2023, I have a prayer journal that I read from every morning. And that morning I read from a prayer journal. And afterwards I was like, listen, God, I'm going to give you full control. I'm not going to do anything unless you tell me to do it. Like, I'm not touching nothing. I'm not making moves. I'm not calling nobody. I'm not completing anything until you tell me that I should do it. So I just sat there with my eyes closed. I have my daily journal that I write down my tasks for the day. And I said, I'm not going to write down anything until I feel like I hear something. So I closed my eyes and I held my pen in my hand. And I was like, tell me, what do I need to do? And 4 things was on that list, which is weird because I usually only do about 1 or 2 things a day. I don't do 4 things. I like to keep it simple. So I got 4 tasks. Now, I don't remember what the 4 tasks were off the top of my head, but the one was to finish my book. Mm-hmm. And I was like, flip am I supposed to do that? I have this outline. It's too much information. My perfect reader doesn't want to read it. Like, where do I go from here? And basically what I got from that was to simplify. if I'm going to call myself an expert, I have to prove that I am the expert. That doesn't mean giving everything that I have, but it means giving them what they need for this moment. So after I had that epiphany, or whatever you want to call it, I called my perfect reader up on the phone and I asked her if we could have a Zoom call. She said yes, she was open to it. We spoke for about 2 hours and she told me what it was that she struggled with. She didn't struggle with money. She didn't struggle with client acquisition. She didn't struggle with growing her business. The thing that she struggled with was getting people to recognize that she is a thought leader. And I was like, wow, okay. And I asked her, I said, do you feel like a book can help you achieve that? She said, yes, absolutely. But she's been through so many book coaches who didn't give her that. They were just showing her how to write and the details of publishing. She was like, that doesn't help me. I need to know how to use the book to become a thought leader.
Okay, pause. Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what she said? How to use the book to become a thought leader. Yes, and I'm telling you that in this book, she's got several I can't show it on the camera here. So birthing the author within, building the book, using the book, and above and beyond. But I'm looking, there's another quote I'm going to read in a minute, but I'm looking here, Porsche, at where to go. Come on. The part, there it is. There it is. Page 75, monetizing your book. And that's part of becoming a thought leader, right? So continue, or we can veer off, but continue with your story.
Well, yeah. So I said, okay, got it. So I went into the original outline that I did and I read over it and realized that what I originally wanted to put in the book was missing all the marks. Like it just missed everything. So then I realized that this is all wrong and I have to start from scratch. So I started from scratch in terms of the outline, but all I really had to do was just go back to what I teach in my coaching. Because what I didn't realize was what I was teaching verbally is what should have been written down in the book. So I revamped the outline and then I went down this rabbit hole for 3 weeks trying to figure out how impactful authors became impactful. So I looked at people like James Baldwin. I looked at Joan Didion. I looked at Paulo Coelho. Like I looked at these amazing authors and was like, why do people still read their books generations after they've written them?
Yeah.
And then I realized the secret sauce. The secret sauce to creating an impactful book is combining your story and your wisdom. James Baldwin did it in every single book he wrote. Joan Didion did it in The Year of Magical Thinking. These incredible authors just combined those things and was like, here. And I was like, wow, eureka, I found it, And then, so when it came to coming up with the title, The CEO Author, I had to step outside of the whole, literary history and what does Pam want? Pam was my perfect reader. She's the woman I was speaking to. What does Pam want? Now I need to come up with a title that had crazy SEO. That's all I was after. That's all I wanted was how can I find a title that will rank ridiculously high on Google? And that's how I came up with the CEO Author. So now when you Google, not only did I do that, but I bought the domain. I used it as the name for everything. I was like, I got it because it's ridiculous SEO. So when you search CEO Author, originally, before I created the book, Google would populate the top, I can't remember what they call them, but basically just a little top result. And it's just a list of all these CEOs who publish books. So you got Bill Gates up there. You have Ben Horowitz up there. You have, what's her name? The CEO of Facebook. Sandy? No, something Sandberg. What's her name? It isn't. Sheila. Something. Anyways, the female, the woman who was the CEO of Facebook, Oprah Winfrey. These are amazing business owners who publish books. That's what happens when you Google CEO author before I published my book. Then I published my book. I bought the domain. I hosted the CEO Author Summit. I hosted the CEO Author Networking event. I created the CEO Author Uncut podcast. Now, when you search CEO authors, all those people's names are still there. But guess whose name is among them?
Yes.
Me. And I am not on the same level as Bill Gates and them, but there I am.
So this is just phenomenal, because authors need to understand the power of what you did, the power of owning the CEO author, owning this title, and turning it into something that when I search, it's going to come up. I did the same thing with my lipsticking blog 20 years ago. I wrote about marketing to women online, smart marketing to women online in my blog. And if you search marketing to women, that's all. I was the first result for almost 10 years.
That is awesome.
Because we put our purpose into making that happen. We didn't just say, oh, oh, look, I wrote a nice book and it's on Amazon, and now I'm going to wait because everybody's going to come and buy it, and people are going to contact me to speak. And that doesn't really happen, does it, Porsche?
Never. It never happens that way. You have to be intentional.
All right. Yeah. So the other thing I want to talk about is I want to read in Sharing Your Wisdom, Chapter 5, where Porsche says, beyond being a major piece of your legacy, I am very big on legacy. A book containing your wisdom is the perfect form of reference for your followers. And then she gives an example. And I mean, I could just read this whole book to you folks, but you need to go out and buy this book because it's so fantastic. Legacy is something that I think a CEO author is building when they write a book. Tell us what you think and why you wrote that in there.
Yeah, I think because it's one of the most overlooked aspects of having a powerful book. Whether it's positive or negative, any book that you write will always and forever be part of your legacy. So you get to determine what that looks like and what that means. So for CEO authors, the whole goal of using a book is so that you can leverage it in your business to grow your business or take your career to the next level. But our businesses and our careers are our legacies. So when we die, we look at what we leave behind, and most people instantly think of their businesses. That's what you're leaving behind. But every business has different types of assets. Some are more powerful than others. So for me, a book is one of the most powerful assets that you use in your business, thus it'll be a part of your legacy. So when you take your wisdom and you put it into a book, you have the ability to leave behind something more than just clients and spreadsheets. It's your knowledge, your wisdom. So after you die, you're still going to be coaching people. You're still going to be training people. Your legacy will live on through every person who learns from you and implements what they learn.
Exactly. And I mean, let's put in there, it needs to be a book that is well done. It has to have a nice cover. It has to be well formatted. It has to have all of the things in it that any book that you would see from Simon & Schuster or Harcourt and Brace or any of the big publishers. The books that you and I produce, they are quality. This is quality content. The effort was put into both the interior design, cover design, and the monetization or marketing. But here's another fun thing. You're writing another book. Tell us about the next book.
So the CEO Author Volume 2 tackles the actual writing process. So after speaking to my perfect reader and I realized what she wanted was clarity on how to use a book to get her to the next level, she's clear on that. Now she's like, okay, now how do I write the book? I know what it's supposed to do and I can start selling it, but I haven't actually written it yet. And just like anybody who's good in their business, they know that you sell before you create. So I've had authors who sold hundreds of copies of their books before the book was actually written. And so that's the process that I wanted the book series to follow. how do you get the mindset that you need to start selling it? That's volume one. And then volume two is actually writing it. So that's what I'm working on right now, how to write a book that is guaranteed to give you sales and improve your business.
Yeah, I'm fascinated, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show. And folks, let's put it right out there now. If you haven't figured it out, Porsche does the same thing I do. Okay, we are in some ways competitors, but here's the reality. I think Porsche has a different group of people that she works with than I do, and it doesn't really matter because I live in a world of abundance, Porsche. So when I get spiritual and I do my prayers and whatnot, I'm thankful for the clients I have, for the life that I have, for the home I have, for the family, and that's that's what helps get me inspired to do the things I do. But here's the other thing about writing that second book. It's so important, folks. If you're, whether you're a fiction author or a nonfiction author, CEO author, or whatever, that second book, A, helps sell the first book, and B, people like a series. People like to know that you're still out there helping them, right? Wouldn't you say, Porsche?
Absolutely. And I mean, one thing that I love about the way that I released the first book was that I pre-sold it, pre-sold it, pre-sold it,
Pre-sold.
pre-sold, pre-sold. I pre-sold it through my website. So I have the hundreds of people who bought it and I have their emails so that when I release the second book, I already have guaranteed customers. No problem. And I think you got this one from Amazon, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you have the one from Amazon. So of course, when you publish through Amazon, you don't get that contact information. So it's really important that, especially if you're going to do a series, that you find a way to get those people into your universe, take them off of Amazon and get them to buy directly from you so that you can always sell to them or promote, market to them whenever the next book drops.
Yeah, and the next book, it also adds to your legacy. And it also adds to your leadership and authority. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like the way that I'm writing the series, it's not just a repeat of the first book. It's different aspects of everything that you need to know. So basically, I took that original draft that I had that was like the Bible to creating a book for CEO authors. I'm breaking that up into smaller books to give you these bite-sized pieces.
Wow.
So it's definitely a continuation of my legacy, but it really is a part of the series in that you have to read each book to get to that finished product, to get to the ultimate result that you want. I find that a lot of people call their book, like they have a collection of books and they call it a series. And there's a difference between a series and a collection. A collection can just be an assortment of different books that you just put together, but a series it has to follow a particular order in order to accomplish something. So in this case, yeah, I do feel like it's a part of my legacy, but ultimately it's giving my readers, the people that are in my universe, the ability to get everything that they need in bite-sized pieces.
I love that you also are offering this insight and this knowledge to so many people. And let's talk a little bit about the fact that the work that we do isn't about us. So that even the books that you're writing, the series of books, it's not about you. It is about the people that want to work with you because you have a passion for seeing great books being created, books that count. Tell us a little bit about the summit you had. That was really, I mean, I was like, I wish I could have been there. That was really awesome.
So basically, the CEO Author Summit was the book come to life. So I took the information from the book that you get in, pretty hefty pieces, and I decided to bring it to life and give you even I'd say 10 times more value than what was in the book. So in the book, through some of the chapters, I hit on different things that you're supposed to do or what you should do as a CEO author. That means establishing your personal brand, getting on the TEDx stage, leveraging press and media. What's the other one? Oh, pitching your book, learning how to pitch your book. Well, I am not an expert on those things. I just know that you need to do them. That's what I put into the book. So I needed to bring in people who are experts on those things. So if you read the CEO author, you can attend the CEO author summit and talk to the people who can help you actually accomplish those things. So I brought in Elaine Powell, who came and talked to everybody about how to get on a TEDx stage. I brought in Ramon Ray to talk to people about how to establish your personal brand and help you become the celebrity CEO of your business. I brought in Rachel Weaver. She's a public relations and media relations manager, and she teaches you how to get your story, your book, and your brand into the right publications, podcasts, and all that fun stuff. And then I brought in Glenn Rudin, who talked about how to pitch your book for maximum monetization.
Wow. Wow. And see, that is the real power of what you have created with the CEO author. It's not meant, folks, it's not meant for you to just sit down and now I'm going to read this book and now I'm going to write a book and become a CEO. This is not the thing. When you did that at the summit, so I assume then that you invited all the people who helped pre-sold, when you pre-sold the book, you invited all those people. Who else did you invite?
Well, it was open to the public. So when we ran ads, we targeted people who were in the US, UK, Australia, Canada, South Africa. I think that was it. And so it was just open to the public because it was free. Plus we had VIP tickets.
Uh-oh. Looks like we lost her, folks. I don't quite know what happened. I guess I'll wait just a minute. We'll see if she comes back. So in the meantime, let's talk about the CEO author. Let's talk about the fact that when you get a copy of this, and maybe you go to Porsche's website and you buy a copy there. Oh, you're back.
Sorry.
You're back. We
There's
lost
no
you.
electricity. Sorry. What was I saying? Oh, okay, yeah. So we have the VIP tickets available for free for everybody who pre-ordered the book. So that was their way in. And then we had the opportunity for people to buy the VIP tickets for $47. So it was really incredible. In the whole point, it's so funny. The summit was actually part of the marketing plan that I had in place for my book. So I knew I wanted to pre-sell the book, then I wanted to release the book, then I wanted to do the CEO Author Summit and the CEO Author Networking event. And the goal was to reach as many people as possible, help as many people as possible, and basically prove to my audience that if you do these things this way, you are guaranteed to earn 5 figures. I didn't know if it would really happen. I was kind of scared, but we decided to do it anyway. By the end of it all, I earned $30,000 in revenue. So I proved that if you follow this step the right way, you're guaranteed to earn 5 figures from every single book that you release. So I know that I just have to rinse and repeat for all of my future books in the series. Awesome. And just help a bunch of people in the process.
Yes, yes. So one of the fascinating things in the book, everyone, is a QR code. So I'm going to put that QR code up there. Where does the QR code go?
So there's 2 QR codes. One goes to my link tree. It's called, well, $100,000, $10,000 cards. Basically, it's just a digital business card that allows you to connect with me on all platforms. Mm-hmm. And then the second one takes you to a link so that you can book a discovery call with me so we can talk about how to help you become a CEO author.
Well, that's wonderful. I do like, a lot of people are doing that now. They're putting the QR codes in. The other thing I learned that I'm going to share with you is because the book is on Amazon, correct?
Mhm.
And I don't know if it's necessary for your book, but we're thinking about it for some of our authors, is in those first few pages that Amazon gives as a read sample. It used to be
Mhm.
look inside, now they call it read a sample. Have a page with your call to action. Have a page with what you want people to do, where they can go to connect with you, so that during that little 3 minutes of reading the first introduction or whatever, they see, oh, here's where I go. This is how I connect. I get LinkedIn or whatever it is. So it's a really interesting way to get that call to action in front of people even before they buy the book.
That is awesome. I hadn't thought of that. I think, looking at my client list, I feel like there are a couple of authors that could work with. For me, I feel like that wouldn't work for me because one of the things that I do with my book is basically prep the readers to become a client. So
Right.
before you pick up the book, you are unlikely to be qualified to work with me. So it's better that you read the book before you start trying to reach out.
Yes, I agree. But and like I said, I think a couple of my clients is probably useful for also. So we're coming up to the end of our time, but this is so, I can't impress upon the audience enough that the reason I wanted Porsche on isn't just because she's so fantastically smart, and that she and I, like, we think alike, legacy, and we think about the books and how they have to be good, and we want every author to have a book that is produced and looks as good as anything else on the bookshelf, correct? Yes,
Absolutely.
that is what
Yeah.
we want. But I wanted her to on also because she's got such a great smile. She's so energetic, and her story is what is compelling. It's something that I feel connected to Porsche, because I was the same way. I had a background where books were my place where I could go and hide. And I mean, it brought us to a good place, and it brought us together. So I'm happy about that.
Me too. That is awesome. Thank you.
So everyone, I will have all the information on connecting with Porsche. I will have, Porsche, you want to tell us your website?
Yeah, PorscheSteele.com. Porsche spelled like the car. Steele, Steele. PorscheSteele.com.
And here's the book, and you sell the book on the website.
Yeah, you'll just see
Yeah,
at the
so
top, it has all the navigation panes and one will say a book, but I think there's a pop-up as soon as you get there.
yeah, but go buy it on the website, folks. That's that's where you should get it from. And we'll talk some more when the next book comes out.
Sounds good.
Thank you for being on the show. This is Yvonne DeVita from Smart Conversations, and we've been talking with Porsche Mystique Steele, who is the author of the CEO Author.
Thank you.